All right, Kiss Army, welcome to the KissFAQ podcast. Thank you for giving us your time today and letting us into your head. I hope you don't do any damage. This is a Kiss-related podcast by the board for the board. We hope that you enjoy. Welcome to episode 68 of the KissFAQ podcast. I'm Julian Gill, one of your hosts. Joining me today is not Lonnie. Lonnie, you're forgiven. But Ken's here, 69th Blizzard, and Marcus
Hello.
Almighty Mark from the board. So welcome back, both of you guys. Today's topic, or actually we should say, I hope you've bought Origins Volume 1, which is officially released today. And of course, no one was listening to the full album beforehand who shouldn't have been. So go out and get it. I believe Rock and Roll Hell actually was up on YouTube briefly yesterday before the album came out, but they're doing a good job of ripping it all down. So support the artist, buy the freaking album. It's not that expensive. I got my iTunes download today. I'll just say one quick thing about that. I'm disappointed in the digital booklet. It doesn't have anything that says why Ace actually recorded any one of those fucking songs.
Yeah, it would have been nice had he wrote about every song, right?
Yeah, it's got these are his origins. Tell me why they're your frickin' origins. How hard is it to say, well, Magic Carpet Ride, well, I saw John Cale, Steppenwolf do blah blah blah. Five words, not 5 paragraphs. Yeah. Don't write a frickin' album focus about it, but at least tell us why these are your origins. So a little bit disappointed about that, but. I enjoyed my listen to it this morning. The songs that I liked before, the ones I still like, and the ones that I knew I wouldn't like, I don't like. Can't stand that Lita Ford song. Not at all. So, have either of you listened to it yet?
Not yet. Just a few songs that appeared that available to people. So that's all I've got so far. I'm gonna try to go out and get the item today at a record shop.
Wow, you're that hopeful, are you?
Wow. Well, I've heard a few of the songs. I did actually catch a full version of Rock and Roll Hell. They had it on Rolling Stone's online site today. So Rolling Stone magazine, and I've only heard about 4 or 5 songs. But I do have the record on pre-order. I got a message from Amazon saying that it's going to be here probably Monday for me. Unfortunately, I thought it was going to be earlier, but that's what happens, I guess, when you pre-order from them. Sometimes you get it early, sometimes you don't. But I might go to the record store as well to see if maybe I can just grab the CD version of it just so I can have something to listen to as well. But so far what I've heard, I don't really mind. My main thing that I wanted to hear Rock and Roll Hell, because that was always the song that made me scratch my head when I saw it on the set list there or the track listing, thinking, why is he doing this song? And funny enough, they do a pretty well, Creatures of the Night version of it on that record. So it's interesting. He tries to sing it like Gene, I find, but he can't obviously hit some of the notes that Gene does, but still, it's not too bad.
Yeah, and, I was looking forward to hearing that one, too. But, I just got to the point where some of his lead work at the end of the song is just so, it was sounding like stuff off Trouble Walking, just recycled, uninspired. And we know he's like Mr. One Take, just wings it these days. And it shows in parts to me. But you know what? Overall, I was impressed. It's a decent album. There's a couple head scratches of how could this possibly be an influence on you. I mean, Thin Lizzy, a great example. That didn't come out until 76, I think. So
yeah.
I don't get it. And so again, I would have liked the liner notes to tell me about it, but it's overall pretty good album. And we're going to, I guess, talk about maybe some of the songs on that in the context of today's topic, which is On Tour 2016. Kiss Shock Horror has announced a tour to replace all those canceled dates in, I think they were Germany, Italy. I'm not sure if there were any others yet that had been announced that were canceled. So they are going on the road, another Lost Cities outing in the U.S. and now Canada. I think they've announced 2 dates up Rexall and
really?
The Stampede, so Calgary. And I'm just going off. That's like I think the 12th and 13th of July, right in the window where I said they should have been finding a Northern California market to play so that I could have some entertainment. But tough shit. Mr. Gill is not always made happy. So, there was a bit of debate, obviously online about the band not touring. So this year we get Freedom to Rock. It just initial impressions before we talk maybe about set design and what we kind of expect them to do in the B markets. And I do apologize to everyone who lives in Bozeman, Montana, or Lincoln, Nebraska, for calling you the B markets, but it is very much secondary. Mark, what's some of your initial impressions on it?
Well, actually, I was kind of surprised, but I'm thinking that it might be a smart idea for them to do the B markets. I mean, I think that they haven't hit some of these places in a little while, so it probably makes sense to go to these places, if only just to maybe appease the people that haven't seen them for that long. And maybe it just might, maybe the attendance might be strong at these places because of that, right? I mean, you can only play some of the big markets, I guess, so many times before these start getting, a little tired of it. But I mean, Kiss hasn't been out for how long though now? So, I mean, I know people have been asking for them out and stuff like that. So I think it's a good idea that they're going out to do these markets. So, I was just disappointed that they didn't announce anything in Canada right away. But I'm glad to hear that you just mentioned that they already have 2 dates now. I'm hoping that Toronto and Montreal or maybe Ottawa might be in there, but Toronto's not really a B market, so I'm guessing it might be like Hamilton or something like that. Or Ottawa.
Yeah, you've got the B markets. What, Ottawa, London, maybe. Where's Sudbury?
Sudbury's north of us, but it's still they've played there like in '77 and stuff like that before. But I mean, it's not exactly a hot spot for major acts to play, but I wouldn't be surprised if they played there.
Yeah, I mean, right now this tour is just like a wet dream for anyone who's in the Midwest. You got 2 Minnesota dates, you've got Illinois, Wisconsin. How many Wisconsin dates? 3 Wisconsin dates. Indiana, 2 Michigan dates, 2 Illinois dates, and then 3 Ohio dates. So, I mean, that is just great for people who live in that area and people who want to do a road trip. Time to become like the Grateful Dead and just follow them around the B markets and, live like you're in 1976. Ken, what's your initial take on the tour?
Well, I think, it's funny, they call it the Freedom to Rock tour. I don't know if that has to do with the kind of falling with the elections going on this year, or our suggestion back when we said they should do a Spirit of '76 tour, and maybe they just said, well, they can't call it that. They want to give us credit for that, so they're going to call it Freedom to Rock. But it's good that I don't know. Usually they have a reason to tour, promoting something, and I guess they're not really promoting anything just other than themselves and trying to make some more money, maybe getting out there in these markets that, like you said, are B markets where they haven't been to in so long. And now I guess California is a C market because we're not even on the schedule. So
yeah, you know what? When you look through the box scores for like some of the shows at Concord of 4,000 people, I mean, we were just talking before we started the show of where might they play in the Bay Area, Ken? That's not the Oakland Arena, Mountain View, or Concord. I mean, what's smaller than that?
I don't know. There used to be there's the old it's called the Henry J. Kaiser Auditorium.
Yeah.
So that could be one. They haven't played that since the mid '80s. So
you mentioned the Cow Palace, which I would absolutely love to see a show there, just because it's legendary and it's right down the field from Crocker Amazon, where I'm always at for soccer. So I mean, really convenient. Okay. And then, of course, I think I threw out there, what was it, the San Francisco Municipal Auditorium. But, that's too smart.
Civic.
The box scores for recent years in this region, it's essentially suck donkey balls. They do not sell well here. As much as we love them and would love to go and see them, I can understand us being skipped over. And the 2 dates that they added in that window that I was hoping for was July the 12th, Edmonton, Rexall Place, and I think that's the last show that'll ever be held at that venue. And July 13th, Stampede, Roundup in Calgary. So, they're not going to fit any other ones in there to rest the band.
Well, hopefully, maybe at the end. That's the only, I guess, other gap It's after West Virginia or whatever it is at the end of the tour.
So that's kind of odd, though. I mean, because I'm looking at the dates as well, and like you said, there's not too many gaps here on these dates here in between. So I'm even trying to think of if they're going to even do somewhere here in the greater Toronto area. I don't know when they're going to do that because I'm looking at it here, and there's, like you said, there's not many spots here where there's any openings. I mean, it's like they'll do like August 1st, I'll take a day off August 3rd, take a day off August 5th. So I mean, unless they're willing to give up a day off, which at this point I don't think they're probably willing to do at this point, then I don't know when they're going to be doing any Eastern Canada spots.
September the 6th. Look at that date. Where are they? They're in Maine. So that's pretty close.
In the old days, there were some tours where they were going back there and all throughout, and then they would hit California last. I remember that happening a lot a few years in the '80s. So maybe I'm hoping they're going to pull one of those.
Yeah, and let's not just focus on NorCal. Our brothers down south.
Southern California.
There's no L.A. dates. There's no San Diego. There's no. Well,
Irvine.
Well, does that even still exist? Because I thought that was getting demolished to build houses.
Really?
So, yeah, they lost their lease on it.
The Universal.
Yeah, so it's not.
That's
just
really
us.
odd.
Is there the South? Obviously isn't represented here yet. No Texas, no Florida, no South Carolina, etc. Yep. So. Maybe it's a work in progress. That's still a pretty good tour size in terms of the number of dates for a band this age. And obviously, they still wear costumes and they still have to work very hard on stage physically.
Yeah.
So you kind of understand. And it's summertime. Are they going to put Paul Stanley outdoors in Florida in high summer again? I freaking hope not, because that's just really, really mean.
Yeah, well, I mean, the other thing that I found interesting on here, too, you're talking about California and the lack of any dates on there. I mean, there's also only one date in New York. There's like Rochester. That's it. So, I mean, you figure a band that's from New York and probably has still a huge, base of fans there. And even in California, where they're now pretty much all, that's their home place now. The two places that you would attach to Kiss seem to have nothing going on there this time. I mean, is it because they're trying to focus so much on it being actual B shows that they're avoiding these spots? Or
well, if it really was a B market, you'd think you'd see Binghamton on there, or nearby at least Scranton. They're both 60 miles or so from each other, so that would hit that kind of circle for people in that area. State College is way away. Erie's way away from that, so you're not going to get the southern tier of New York. And then there's nothing on Long Island, no New Jersey, but who wants to go there? Sorry, New Jersey.
Oh boy,
hate mail coming. Mr. Gill is just getting himself. Let me go get my shovel. I'm over it. So, maybe there'll be more. I mean, West Virginia is the stopping point right now. So, Virginia, West Virginia, I interrupt.
Yeah, it says more cities to be announced, so, hey.
Yeah, well.
No, I was just going to say that it just, like you said, it seems like they're very much focusing on the breadbasket of America there, right? The whole Midwest there. They seem to be very well. I mean, it wasn't that really the spot that really broke them at the beginning too, wasn't it? That whole area. It's probably one of the more stronger areas. I mean, even bands like Rush always used to say that was their biggest, early fan base. So maybe it's a tribute to that. Maybe giving them a bit of a bone there by going back there.
Yeah, it's their neck of the wood. Look at Cheap Trick. Look at Aerosmith. Look at, like you said, Rush, Ted Nugent. All those 70s bands of a similar kind of ilk, were big in that area. Alice Cooper as well, of course. So who knows? It makes sense. It's it's tightly routed. It looks like there's enough rest days in there. Okay, Setlist. Actually, before we get to Setlist, let's talk about staging. What do you think they're going to do, or what should they do? Because when I think of B markets, I think of cut cost. So I immediately see video walls of flames rather than real pyro, really cutting down on the economic scale. Ken?
Yeah, maybe they'll try to do a representation of what they did in Vegas, since they're, putting that movie out. Maybe they're going to try to do a lot of screens and things on the stage, and dump the spider. It sounds like that won't be working. So yeah, I mean, I would love for them though to do something like just have stairs like the Love Gun stairs or something like that. But I really don't think they're going to do it. But I think it's going to be probably slimmed down stage, maybe with a bunch of screens. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, or at least that they're creative with it, because my concern is when you cut your costs in order to tour the smaller markets, which are going to have the smaller grosses. You're going to want to have less people on the road. You want to have less people setting up and tearing down, and you want less to set up and tear down. So, but you still want to put it on a good show, and Kiss has always done that. I mean, you look back at Destroyer, which obviously was an excessive stage, overly complex, and how it evolved into Rock and Roll Over, which was like the refined version. They can use the space and the size adequately. Mark, thoughts on that?
Well, I think that you're right about that. I mean, the one thing that I always have, what gives me great confidence in this, is that when they've done these acoustic shows here and there, those are pretty bare bone nothing. It's just them up there playing the songs, and the great thing is that they can really still keep you entertained just doing that. So if you can do that and get away with it and make the crowd happy, then really everything else is kind of like icing on top, right? I mean, so if they can perform the songs well, make everybody happy with just them performing the music, then I'm sure everybody would love to have a gigantic Kiss show, but like you said, because it's a smaller market, it will probably be scaled down. I can't see very much, pyro and stuff like that, or any major fireworks going on at this. But there will be video screens. I think that's pretty much an attached thing with Kiss now. Screens are pretty much their thing now, and I can still obviously see that there's going to be some sort of a drum riser as usual for the big finale. That's usually always in their shows. And some sort of effect for Tommy or something like that, right? But I think, like you said, they're going to keep it a bit trimmed down. They're gonna make it easy to carry, easy to set up, and stuff like that, so they don't have to bring as many people. Because, like you said, if there's less people in attendance, that equals less profit for them if they go overboard with the amount of people with them. So I still have a feeling though that it's still going to be a good show. I'm really, I don't know, for some reason, I know a lot of people are kind of being skeptical about this, but I have a feeling that this is going to be probably one of their better tours for some reason. Something just in the back of my mind is saying that this might actually be a really good tour, just because I think it'll be more focus on them playing. There's going to be less focus on the staging, I think, because people will just kind of expect that it may not be that big a show. So let's just focus on the songs and how well they play it. I mean, if Paul sings the stuff good and they play it good, then I think people will leave happy.
Yeah, and for most people, they're not going to be, a miserable complainer like me who's saying, I don't like video screen fire. Your general punter's not going to care or know the difference in most cases, because it's the illusion of the show. And Kiss have often been the masters of presenting an illusion of things there that are bigger than they actually are, or seem more impressive than they actually are. It's tricks of the trade. I mean, it's David Copperfield on acid. They know how to do it. So I just hope that they manage to bring it off in a manner that people don't feel like they're getting a B show in a B market, that they're getting the A show in a B market, and they really feel thankful that Kiss brought the show to them. But you know what? Kiss is backed by big business who know what they're doing. So anything that I pontificate about, they've got covered.
The one thing that I always wish they would have brought back, and something that we've kind of lost because of the screens, I always wish they would have brought back those big illuminated Kiss signs like they used to have, with just with the Kiss made out of the lights like they used to have. I mean, I used to love those things. That was the one thing I used to love about watching my bootleg shows. Like the live one was kind of the smaller one, then it got bigger and bigger and bigger, and then, what was it, like Crazy Nights? They had this huge version of it. I mean, that was always kind of cool having that kind of thing, I thought. And I also loved those curtains they used to have on the side of the stage, the Kiss Army ones on the side there.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
even if they just trimmed it down to stuff like that, like 2 huge curtains on the side, bring back maybe a middle-sized one of the Kiss illuminated sign above them there. I mean, when keep the video screens, you can still have them, just maybe not a whole wall, but make a few smaller ones and bring back some of the things that people have fond memories of. Maybe that might, make people a bit more joyous in watching the show. They'll have something to kind of go and say, hey, I remember that when they used to have this out. Like, I'd love to see stuff like that.
Yeah, you've got a good point there, and I'm just trying to think, ahead to the kind of the next part is opening acts. Dead Daisies,
Yeah.
decent enough, and Jacob, what's his name? That's what I was just about to look up. The guy from
Caleb Johnson,
who they did Love Gun with for American Idol, in 2014. He's got some pipes and can certainly sing. But
that guy can sing.
Oh, I was just watching some of his stuff this morning, and him doing Aerosmith's "Dream On" was absolutely incredible. And so he can sing. But who else is on the road or could be on the road? I really, really, really think that the opening act for this tour should be Ace Frehley. It just makes far too much sense at this time with Fire and Water. That Mark, don't kill my dreams, man.
Go ahead.
That he's out there and he's not doing enough of his solo stuff in his set, and it would just be like the perfect combination to have him opening, have Paul maybe doing a cameo on stage in some way. Obviously the makeup would be a bit of a challenge because he's got to be in makeup for his set, but doing Fire and Water with Ace, and then Kiss plays. All these years, Trouble Walking 1990 would have been a great time as well for them to tour. I would just like to see slightly better quality opening acts. Mark, you go on this.
Okay, well, I agree with you about having slightly better opening acts. That's the one thing when I saw when they announced some of the shows, I was like, again, we're going to go through this, like people that I hardly know of that are going to be opening. But, I think the Ace thing is a good idea. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a great idea. I think people would love it. It would definitely solidify attendance. I definitely think it would do that. But I think, again, unfortunately, this boils back down to ego again. This is going to be one of these things where Ace is going to go, I'm not going to open for Kiss. You know what I mean? Like, to him, he'd almost look at that as like a slap in the face when really it shouldn't be. I think that he should look at it as like maybe a great opportunity. He'll play to bigger audiences. He can do that kind of thing, like you just said, where you can have Paul come out, maybe do one of the songs, like his last song, Make It Fire and Water there, and they can do it together, and boom, it could work out so well. But I don't know. I just don't see it happening because of that. I mean, when you're trying to build your own career, the last thing you want to end up doing is doing something that makes you look small and insignificant, and doing something like that. I think he thinks he would do that to himself. I think, I'm trying to he's always trying to make himself look, one up almost. And why would he go and open for a band that throughout the years has, bad-mouthed them and stuff like that? I mean, I'm sure they're all over that now, and that's water under the bridge. But I don't know. I just don't see that happening,
Yeah, maybe he enjoys playing for 350 people in a club in Washington, D.C., and that's that's the only box score we've got so far. And I know he's playing to larger audiences than that. Yes, he probably played to 1,100, in some of the other markets. But Ace going on would get a lot more exposure. But again, he's got too much Kiss shit in his set, which is one problem. And maybe it would just lead to too much confusion. Continue your thought, Mark, right? Because I did interrupt.
Well, it's okay. I was just gonna say that the one band that I thought about that might be a good idea to go out and open with them, and because I keep hearing that they have a record that's come out that's fantastic, is Cheap Trick.
Yeah.
And I mean, they've always been the band that's sort of the forever opener on big tours now kind of band. So why not bring a band like that? I mean, I think that they're nicely connected with Kiss in a lot of ways, 70s band, and they kind of almost work the same market almost, if you think about it, with people who listen to Kiss probably listen to Cheap Trick, right? So I think that would be a good opening band to bring out. I mean, to me, it just makes perfect sense to me. I mean, I agree, Ace Frehley would be good, but I think Cheap Trick would be a good one too. What do you think, Ken?
Yeah, well, I agree with you though, Mark. Well, I love to see Ace open for them. It's just not gonna happen for those reasons of this the Kiss songs and then his ego, maybe their ego even for that matter. But the good thing I think I like about maybe them bringing out Caleb, which they used to bring out these unknown acts, or like the first time I saw them, it was the Rockets open for Kiss, right? So it's good exposure for Caleb, which you can't.
Oh yeah,
That doesn't hurt him. But on the other hand, too, is I think you're going to get a longer set list out of Kiss because of you're not co-headlining like Def Leppard. I think they're going to play more songs. I really do. I know you can say, "Oh yeah, we're too old to play. You can't play that long." But no, I think they're going to throw in a few extra songs.
16 songs, if you're lucky. Now prove me wrong. I love being wrong.
I would hope they would do like 20, but that's the old days. But I would be so happy if I saw something like that.
If they do 20, then Tommy's singing "Shock Me" and Eric's doing "Bath."
Yeah. Or those guys are going to start doing more songs in the set. And I mean, on one hand, I've been seeing on a lot of different pages and sites, people are sometimes, crying out for that. And why not let, Eric there sing a couple songs, why not let Tommy do a song or two here too? I mean, if maybe even to just let Paul rest up his voice during the set, but, I kind of almost tend to want to agree with Julian. I think that they're going to just stick with what works at this point and not rock the boat, right? I mean, as much as I'd love to see them do like 20 songs in a set, I mean, what are the chances of them doing that? Maybe that might happen near the beginning of the tour, and maybe it might be one of those situations where as it goes on, they might make it less and less. Maybe go from 20 to 18 to 17 and finally just stick at 16. But, I always fear that when they lengthen the set, Kiss seems to want to do things where they have like those combined solo spots where they have Tommy's solo spot, which ran into like Eric's solo spot. You know what they did? They did that thing in Sonic Boom where they kind of combined things, and that ended up being like a long 12-minute spot, right? So I mean, I'd rather not have them do that to lengthen the show. I'd rather just hear proper songs, but
Yeah, and no cheating and bringing "I Want You" with that god-awful introduction, or, 100,000 Years with its excruciating section now, or "Lick It Up" with its, with its Who section.
Middle part.
I mean, obviously, I'm going to just reference January Choctaw Casino show, which was, I think that must have been electric with this set. I mean, Detroit Rock City, Deuce, Psycho Circus, Creatures, I Love It Loud, War Machine, Flaming Youth, Calling Dr. Love, Hella Hallelujah, Lick It Up, Cold Gin, Love Gun, Black Diamond, Shout It Out Loud, I Was Made for Loving You, God Help Me, and Rock and Roll All Night. Black Diamond, Eric Singer, vocally, obviously. Nothing to Lose, could be Eric Singer, vocally. It's, it's how is Paul feeling? How is he holding up and pacing himself? That's my big concern, is that they spread things around. And this is, we've kind of seen them starting to do this, a much better job of managing the show, managing the pacing of the show. So I think there's a lot of things that they can be putting in there. Take out the Flaming Youth, because that's Paul singing. Throw in a Gene Gem. Put one bone in there for the diehards. The easy one to pick right now is Love 'Em and Leave 'Em. Just because it has been performed, it's a little bit. For those people who've seen it, you got to remember that a lot of markets, a lot of people obviously haven't gone to the same shows, haven't watched YouTube, haven't downloaded illegally recorded bootlegs, etc. So it's still exciting if they throw something like that in there. But use Eric.
Well, yeah. And another thing that I'm kind of thinking about, which I don't know if you guys agree with this or not, but since they're going to be doing the cruise later on in the year, and they're going to be doing the whole Creatures of the Night thing, you would maybe think that they would maybe would have already started dabbling with some of these songs to maybe start practicing them up, and maybe it might be a smart idea to maybe pull one of these songs into the set list, not like a lot of them, but maybe just one, like maybe do like Killer or something, or Saint and Sinner there, or something, just something that Gene can do, another song, right? Don't do a Paul one, just do another, like you said, pull out a Gene, gem there, and maybe they can pull out one of those songs and do it in there. That would definitely be different, kind of surprising people like they did with Flaming Youth on the cruise before, and they brought that out and then they played that a couple times, right? So why not pull out something like that?
Because this sort of tour is a greatest hits tour. That's the downside, is that you just know, well, we haven't been there in a long time, so we've got to play the hits, right?
Oh, gee. Yeah, I mean, they can still play the hits and stick a gem in there. Why not?
Yeah, if they play the hits, it's going to be a very short set, because Beth and I Was Made for Loving You are technically the hits. So
the only hits.
We've said this before, half the people don't even know their songs anyway, and they're just there to see the show and don't care too much about the music.
Right, and that's a great reminder, if anyone from the organization happens to be checking in on what we're talking about, half the people there, just like Ken said, have no idea what the frickin' hits are. They're just there for the show. They're just there for the experience. It's Kiss. They've heard about them. Their grandparents told them what it was like in 1974. About this crazy band. Well, aren't we really to that point now in their fifth decade? That they're probably our grandparents taking their children who got into the band, and now grandchildren. So it's family entertainment. But the hits, I just don't think they have that much scope to be doing anything. They're not going to do anything that's going to show up on the cruise as like an exclusive. They're not going to throw Killer in there and then do it on the cruise, because the cruise is the exclusive. The cruise comes first. Remember, actually, I've just remembered that I'm totally wrong. Creatures of the Night, didn't they warm that up in Mexico before going out on tour? I believe they did, but someone can fact check me.
Let me put it this way. I mean, the hits. Okay, Deuce is not a hit. I mean, there's a lot of songs they have are songs that are.
They're fan favorites.
Fan favorites. Those are not hits.
Yeah.
Hits are, yes, I Was Made for Loving You, maybe Calling Dr. Love, Beth, like you said, Shout It Out Loud, maybe. Christine 16. That's about it.
Yeah.
That is Forever. But, as for hit-wise, those are not hit. They're calling them hits, but yeah, they're, like you guys said, it's fan favorites. These are fan favorites, so why not play more fan favorites and deep cuts on there? They can still put in those real hits. I Was Made for Loving You and Rock and Roll All Night.
Yeah.
I just don't get it sometimes.
That's a really excellent point, because I mean, really, they seem to focus on a lot of songs off the first record and a lot of stuff off of Destroyer, and really the only hit off of both of those is Beth, right? So I think
it's fan favorites, and it's maybe their favorites, possibly, that they're playing even.
Here's a bunch of songs that we can play in our sleep. Don't make us learn something new. But here we are again. This could be like 2007 all over again. That Keith at Kiss Online gets a poll going. Vet the band for 4 songs, 4 kind of slightly, marginally deeper fan favorites. Mr. Speed would obviously be in that list, but do that poll again. Yeah, so what they did in 2007, how about make the fans feel invested in it, give them the option of something new. We're not talking about anything off The Elder or anything off Crazy Nights, nothing stupid. There's enough in the core catalog for them to be able to throw out 4 songs and say, here, fans, pick one and we'll do it. And that doesn't impact anything that they're doing as an exclusive on the Kiss cruise. And then they can say, well, look, we did something new, or something different. Shut up, fans. Kiss FAQ members, shut your pie holes. We did something different. Stop complaining. So
Right.
Yeah, or why not do like something off of side 4 of Alive 2 there? I mean, those songs people are always crying about. Why we don't ever hear any of those songs? So why not do something
Rocket
off of
Ride.
there? You know?
I was just gonna say, Tommy singing "Rocket Ride."
Tommy, you're doing Rocket Ride.
I would that would not bother me in the slightest. Now he's already done "Shock Me." It's all.
I love the song. I mean, I'd love to hear it.
I would love Kiss to do that song finally. You know, and,
Yeah, it's a Kiss song. It's a Kiss song. It's not an Ace song. It's a Kiss song.
That's right.
I mean, I don't care. I know I'm going to get heat for saying that, but I'm telling you, it is. As soon as he contributed that song and they recorded it under the banner of Kiss, it is not an Ace Frehley song. It is a Kiss song. Same with Cold Gin. You know, same with Shock Me. Those are Kiss songs. So, you know, they have every right to play them on stage if they want to. I mean, Ace is playing Deuce in these songs. I mean, they could say the same thing. Well, that's a Gene's song. You can't be playing that, you know?
Yeah, they don't give them any flack about that, do they?
Yeah.
But you can go one step further then and say, well, Ace just did Rock and Roll Hell, so why don't Kiss do Breakout?
Yeah.
Because
Into the Night.
Yeah, obviously it started out as a Kiss demo, you know, in the Elders. So well, that's all. Okay, we've just gone off kilter there, but you know, there's lots of stuff. Alive 4, the studio side's always a great one, but I think that's a well that's already been visited. You know, somehow
Did you say Alive 4?
Did I? Alive 2.
Yeah.
Alive 4. No one listens to Alive 4. So, but Larger Than Life, you know, obviously Gene's song would be probably the most likely candidate, I think, left off there, because obviously they've already done All American Man and the other Any Way You Want It. No one's ever going to want to hear, and they're probably not going to want to perform. And what's the other one? Rockin' in the USA.
Rockin' in the USA. Oh God, please don't do that song.
Yeah. So exactly that response.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but like you said, the catalog is vast, and since we've already kind of established that as far as a hits set list goes, I mean, we can't really use that terminology, I don't think. I mean, even though they do that, but you know, they have songs available. I mean, at the end of the day, if they really wanted to do it, maybe it is just time. Maybe it's just time constraints. Maybe they're doing so many different other things in between the tours and stuff like that maybe they just don't go and sit down and work on these songs, and they don't get them to a point where they're comfortable playing them, you know?
Yeah, and that's possible. You know, I still think that they should be putting one Sonic Boom and one Monster song in the set, and probably getting in touch with Walmart and getting some of those 100-and-something thousand copies of Sonic Boom that are still available, and selling them at the shows. That would probably be a great way to shift some of that copy.
Yeah.
You know, it'd just be nice to. It's going to represent the whole set, including the whole history, including the stuff that they've done recently. But what about effects? Should Gene be flying up to the truss? Is he going to be able to in these venues? Or should they build him a stage like they did with Destroyer? Should they get rid of that god-awful mini stage that Paul zip lines out to? You know, because that's just done to death. I don't think they can do it in a lot of places. So
I always would have loved to have them have a ramp, or not ramp, but what do you call that? The one that goes straight out in the middle of the audience.
Stage.
Ego stage, right? One of those. I would have always loved them to do that. They never have done that, and I thought that would have been cool. They don't need to have Gene fly. Seen it go, enough times. Of course, spitting the blood and doing the fire thing. Keep that going. Maybe the rockets shooting out of Tommy's guitar would be fine. Also, I wouldn't mind seeing some lasers. Use some of those, pull the lasers out. I don't think that's too hard to add to their show for effects.
That's the thing that I'm kind of disappointed in, is that I've seen a lot of times throughout the years bands have tried to just do something different each tour, bring something new in, and I just don't think that they really tried to bring something new to their stage show. I mean, this is such a great opportunity maybe to bring in something new. But I mean, of course, you have to think of it. What is it going to be? And then, of course, you have to design it and make it right as well. So that's another whole ball of wax. But I mean, I don't know what you guys think, but I mean, aren't we kind of overdue for a new Kiss thing? Like, instead of Gene going up to the trusses, maybe Gene can do something different.
No, we're due for something old. To reach back further into the well and redo something they've done before. I think Ken mentioned the stairs, the Alive 2, and they had them also for the Destroyer stage. Getting back to scissor lifts and cherry pickers and kind of the traditional elements in the show.
Flash paper.
Well, the exploding drumsticks. There.
Yeah, burning your audience members and blowing your roadies' fingers off. What's better, huh?
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, if you're gonna go down that path, I think the obvious thing that screams out is to just bring out the Destroyer stage again. Then, if you're gonna do that, because I mean, everybody had their little area. Then Gene had his destroyed castle area and the spaceman area over there and this and that and the cat area. Like, I mean, if they can, everybody has always said that they never had a chance really to see it because it was such a short used set overall. So why not bring it back? It doesn't seem like it'd be overly complicated to set this up every night.
It was such a short used. I'm sorry, Ken. It was such a short used stage because it was horrendously complex and didn't work or fit into most of the venues in '76. That's why it didn't work. I mean, obviously, all the zones and everything that was designed for it fit into what its purpose was. The Frankenstein machine did not work, right? The lighting and how it was arranged didn't work. So. I would say bring back the creature stage, tank, freedom to rock. Here's a turret. So,
I would love that. The creature stage. I also started thinking about a lot of people. Since the numbers that saw the Revenge tour did not see. There was not many people that saw that, but they had the Statue of Liberty. But kind of modify that and have the Statue of Liberty like holding the guitar kind of thing or something else. Do some things with that. I don't know. It's kind of a big
holding the flag, American flag.
Holding the flag, then it drops and a guitar comes out, or it's red, white, and blue, or whatever. An Iceman.
Statue of Liberty doing the devil's horns.
Finger, but this time, no middle finger from the
Statue
of Liberty.
Don't do the American flag because they're going to Canada. So. That's not going to work there, and I don't think they're going to want to hang the maple leaf because they're not a Canadian band. So, a hand gesture or whatever. The Statue of Liberty would be really cool, actually, because they did that.
It's freedom to rock.
They did that in kind of the Revenge tour, which was not exactly gigantic venues. So maybe it could work. Or maybe they go the Iron Maiden route. I mean, look at the last 10 Iron Maiden tours. They just use freaking painted backdrops every tour. They just changed the backdrop. Here's a new one, with our Egyptian theme. Here's a new one with our Mayan theme. Here's a new one with our Final Frontier theme. Yeah. Maybe, instead of going kind of the high tech, here's our new video screen arrangements hiding all the amps, which they've traditionally done for so many years, is look at doing a backdrop type thing that represents freedom. So.
Yeah, kind of like the Iwo Jima thing. Have Kiss in their outfits, and they're putting up the flag, but the flag is the Kiss Army flag. They're putting up.
Well, yeah. Look at all the images throughout history that represent freedom. I mean, the Iwo Jima one is a great example. There's also the Colonial Drummer Boy one, and they've done the '76 one. That classic poster. Projecting those things on a backdrop or even, God help me, a video screen. Kiss in the guise of numerous different freedom type. Scenarios, whether they're American or whatnot, it doesn't matter. It'd be kind of cool to kind of bring, here's World War II, here's World War One, Spanish-American War.
And I mean, sorry, go ahead.
And then they can perform War Machine.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say that the backdrop idea is a really great idea because, I mean, that's the one thing I've always loved about the Iron Maiden stages that if you do them correctly, like how they do them, they can add so much scope and depth on the stage. They're very well, like when they're really well made like that, they add so much to the stage and they don't cost a lot to transport. You know what I mean? It's not like a huge heavy thing. You get a whole bunch of them and they're perfect. I mean, they, like you said, there's so many different images connected to Kiss that you can have so many different kinds of them made and just have them for different songs up. I mean, that's a great idea. I mean, I don't know why they don't do that, something like that. That would definitely be, something different that they haven't done on a stage before and would add to it. And then because they're doing smaller venues, they could totally get away with it because a big backdrop like that would look impressive in a smaller venue.
And in that backdrop, they could also do since it's 76, it's, 20 years, 40 years since Destroyer. They could do the backdrop of Destroyer, like the back of the album.
That would be badass.
And, I was like, that would be cool. I would love to see them in front of that. It's like they're almost like on the album,
Well, shit. Since
cool.
you've just said it, so why not bring back the crumble walls? For the amp fronts. Stuff that they can kick. They can do a little bit of destroying as well. Knocking down parts of their stuff with foam. Though, if I remember, there was complaints that it was too much time to set up and clean up when the crumble walls were used. So but that would be awesome. A backdrop like the backing of Destroyer in the 40th anniversary of that album could be really cool. So, there's options. I love the way Iron Maiden has done it set, but like I've complained about with Kiss relying on the video screens for too long, Iron Maiden's relied on the physical backdrops too long so that it just feels like they're changing a curtain every tour rather than really changing things up or developing their stage. So it's laziness. So where I'm kind of accusing Kiss of being lazy with video screens, switch over to a different methodology of doing the same thing. It's probably just as easy or just as difficult for the layman to consider.
Yeah. I guess the difference is that Iron Maiden fans don't seem to complain about these things as much as Kiss fans complain about these things, right?
Kiss fans do not complain about anything. We're the happiest human beings on the face of the world. No one ever criticizes the band. Everyone just takes it and enjoys it, right? Yeah,
absolutely.
And then we woke up, right?
Right.
So what else can they do? What else can they do for the tour? I mean, that's special effects. Are we just going to see the same old costumes, or should they be going back to something different and getting away from Monster?
I would, bring
out the Asylum costumes.
To do something, maybe pull the Destroyer costumes out. Might as well, I'd like them to do those. If they're going to do a new album, then I'd say new costumes for a new album. But they're not doing an album at this moment, so I'd say Destroyer would be a cool.
Yeah, but they did that in Psycho Circus, right? They wore the Destroyer outfits for that, right? I mean, mind you, that's been a long while since that's happened as well.
Yeah, that's so long ago. It's in black and white, so.
Yeah, but I mean, it makes sense. I mean, if you're gonna go down that theme and maybe use that as a sort of a theme for the whole tour, right? Kind of hinting on the Destroyer thing, then it would make sense, right? I mean, and it is probably one of their more popular costumes out of all of them, I would say, right? I mean, what's more popular than that one?
Yeah, right now, I mean, they can do whatever the hell they want. I mean, if Gene wants to be Gene 74, Gene, do it. Paul, if you want to be Paul 83, wear your T-shirt. Tommy, which ace do you want to be? You want to be ace 77? You want to be ace 75? Is there any reason why they can't mix and match what they're most comfortable, playing? Yeah. Eric, doesn't have as many options, but
the Creatures was kind of a
total hybrid.
Hybrid, yeah.
Yeah, hybrid, and it was cool. I mean, I wouldn't mind them doing that, and they're going to do the Creatures thing anyway, but they might be just holding off for that, so it's special for the cruise people.
Yeah, Or, they could see if they need to do any work on the costumes. And who knows, if they do different backdrops, they could do different backdrops and bring the 74 costumes for one day, use the 75 costumes the next, and 77. So rotate your backdrops and rotate your costumes.
Oh, each show,
or every couple of shows, and when the costumes when the costumes get smelly and need to be sent to the dry cleaners, switch over to the next backdrop and rotate it up, and people are getting a different kind of show that they never know which show they're going to get necessarily. It could
that'd
just
be interesting.
Instead of worrying about what songs they're going to get, what show are we getting? Are we getting the 74 show? And I think we've kind of mentioned this before in the context of stuff that they could do in Vegas on previous episode. Can they do this in a smaller market now with a backdrop and rotate the whole show? Not rotate the set. That's too much effort for them with the all the show elements and that need to go together. But I think that could actually be pretty fun. That you show up and it's Kiss 74, and the next day you show up and it's Kiss Love Gun with kind of like a backdrop of the the kind of
the pylons and
the pyro just exploding everywhere, and then the Destroyer back cover and maybe dungeons. So there's kind of ways, and that's just, I haven't given this any thought, and that obviously shows, but that they could kind of mix things up a little bit and bring a bit of excitement into this run.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one thing that's sorely missing in amongst their organization is people who do these kind of things, I feel, because I mean, we've sat here and during our episode and come up with easily 5 or 6 really great ideas that if more thought was done with their actual production team could be put into action and brought to fruition, but they don't seem to want to do these things. They always want to go with the safe and easy route and just give you more of the same thing and just let's just shut up and be happy that we're out touring again kind of thing. Well, I think that they can do that. I think it's a great idea, Julian. I think that would make me really happy. Going to a Kiss show and not knowing what I'm going to get. Could you imagine that? Not knowing what kind of a show I'm going to be getting. Because right now I know what I'm going to get. I've been getting the same show since 2000, right? So come on, you gotta change up a bit somehow. Come on, man, this is your chance. I mean, you've had a lot of time off since the last tour. There's got to be something you guys have been thinking about besides opening up diners and stuff like that. Come on,
diners. Oh. Yeah, but they probably, the cost analysis and all that's probably been done, and once you've done it once, you know what it's going to cost from year to year. So I'm sure they've got an excuse. Maybe we're unrealistic because we're fans on the fan side of things rather than business people on the touring side.
Yeah, but they always said that they were for the fans. We're the band that's for the fans, right? Well, you're not for me apparently, because you're not doing some of the things I'd love to see. So, I know that somebody else made that argument once before too, but I mean that I just don't understand why they can't make a bit more of an effort. I'm not saying that they don't make an effort, but a little bit more would be nice,
Meet and greets. Should those continue? Should they continue to be doing little acoustic sets before, or should they get back to pounding flesh and just doing autographs and save their musical energies? That's one of my concerns. I think right now the meet and greets, and like I think I said that if I'd been going to a show, I was going to do a meet and greet this time, is a great experience. I did the old ones in 2003, 2004, which were just autograph sessions, and I thought that was absolutely awesome. The acoustic stuff at this point is starting to be done to death. So many of these are kind of the same songs overdone. Yeah, they've pulled out a few, gems totally here and there. But I recall that a video that I saw on YouTube of Gene telling Paul to save his voice, and that really rings now as being more important than doing these little acoustic things, that it's more important to protect Paul at all costs. and you can still meet the band and get your stuff signed, and have time to say, thank you, Gene, thank you, Paul, for all you've done for us, to give them, your thanks in person. So, thoughts on that meet and greet? Should the acoustic go?
Yeah, they can cut it. I mean, they can cut it. It's like you said, it could save Paul's voice a little bit. Plus, it would give maybe a little bit more time with the fans that way. What time it takes to do that acoustic show. I don't know how long they play. 20 minutes. I don't know. But that time could be put into the fans meet and greet, and a little bit more extra time for them. To talk maybe a few seconds longer or something.
Or a little bit more time for Paul Stanley to be on stage with Ace as the opening act doing a song, right?
Still in dreamland there, eh, Julian?
I'm not in dreamland. I'm just totally deluded.
Well, I mean, I agree, though. I think that, listen, originally these things are being called meet and greet. They're not called meet and acoustic session. So, if you're going to get there, go there, do that. I think the fans mainly want to go and talk to you anyways. I mean, they're going to go see you play live anyways. I mean, why do they need to see you beforehand just playing on acoustic, half-heartedly playing some songs? I mean, just go there, talk to them, sign a bunch of stuff. That's what people usually want. Oh, I got a picture with them and they signed my record or they signed my whatever, Just that's what I think people really want. And that's what they want to experience. They want to say that I had 5 minutes with, Paul Stanley or with Gene. They don't want to say they had 30 seconds with them. I mean, I think everybody would rather have 5 minutes of solid time than 30 seconds and then 20 minutes of them jamming.
Yeah, I mean, look at me. I still mention those minutes I had with Peter Criss in 2003 on a regular basis, and I just did again, because it really left an impression. It's become an assembly line in some ways that, you go through, you get your picture, but if you're not doing the acoustic set, you've got a little bit more time to do the picture. Allow the fans to choose if they don't want to have a picture with Eric and Tommy and they just want a picture with Gene. Say, hey, Gene's my hero. I just want to have my picture taken with Gene. No offense to the rest of you. The band can cater to them. It's like it's your McDonald's, it's your Burger King. Have it your way. Just Gene and Paul, or hopefully there's people who obviously want the whole band. Let them do their pictures. Keep it limited to what you are not allowed to bring your own items. It's only going to be the stuff in the special pack, and they'll sign it for you in front of you. Just do it that way. Something to kind of reinvent the meet and greet process. Get away from the acoustic, and the kind of the double show, and just get it back to being. It's still good value for money to have a few minutes with them. So, and you're not straining them. And what do they do? Do they do the meet and greets unmasked, and then go and get? I can't think off the top of my head if they do. So, it's still, there's options to my way of thinking anyway. But
yeah, definitely. I think that. Go on.
No, you continue.
I was going to say that I at the end of the day, I think that the fans mainly want the time to talk to them. I mean, that's what they're there for. They want to see the band. They enjoy the band. They spent their whole lives listening to this band, and how many chances are you going to have to sit down and talk face to face with any one of these guys for more than 30 seconds? I mean, this is what they want. The more time you give them to do that, the happier I think they'll be. I don't think that they'll miss the acoustic thing at all.
Nope, not at all. I think I'd also like to see them do a third act on the stage, on the tour, to kind of stretch it out a little bit more. Dead Daisies, I just don't see being able to play a big set. Caleb's not going to be able to play a big set. They need a third act in there. I mean, look, Heart's going out with Joan Jett and Cheap Trick. That's a great package. If you're going to be touring, you got to have a little bit more of a draw than. I would hate to see these smaller markets be half empty for Kiss. I still think they need someone with them to help them pull a full capacity crowd, and someone that can complement them. A Tesla maybe, or Cinderella. You just go through the list there for everyone who kind of poo-pooed my Ace Frehley, opening. They need a second level act, maybe one of the 18 different versions of Rat, or something like that.
Yeah, well, I
Depending
think
on who owns the name this week.
Bobby Blotzer, I think, still
we've
owns
talked
it.
about Judas Priest or something like that would have been a good one.
Except they're doing
So
what they
yeah,
should be doing. They're writing an album. So
yeah, well, there you
Yeah,
go.
yeah. That's the other thing I'm sort of not happy about. I thought that he would have made another record and toured that, but who knows? It ain't over yet. Maybe they'll still do it. But like you said, I think that I agree. There should be maybe at least one more act on it, if just to guarantee a full house sort of thing for them. I mean, like you said, nothing would be more disheartening than to them to peek out behind the curtain and see only a half full, you know, concert hall at this point, right?
yeah, and I wouldn't say the economy is in the grandest of shape. This is a summer as we're heading into the election cycle that I think Kiss is a great way for people to forget about work, to forget about politics, to forget about stress, and for Kiss to do what they're so damn good at is just the rock and roll party. Forget about it and just go there and be immersed in it. So it could be wonderful. I'd love them to film it as well. Like Rush was doing their last few tours. They were filming every tour, and then a DVD. Iron Maiden's notorious for doing that. Kiss takes so long with product. I mean, Kissology 4 or whatever it's called. It would be great. They're putting that the Vegas is going into the Vegas show. Pardon me, is going into the cinema. Why not film stuff and try and put out a video that celebrates your smaller, tour area, your away from the big cities, which always get all the focus. Do something different, or do something the same, just differently. So, lots of options for the tour. Any other thoughts on it, Mark?
No, I mean, what you just said though was one of the last things I was actually thinking about. Is that if they're going to go out on this tour and try to do something a bit different, then please, please, please film it and release it. I mean, they're so behind on actually putting out any kind of a Blu-ray or DVD of their show. It's unbelievable. I mean, like you said, I'm being a Rush fan. I've been spoiled with having constantly getting, DVDs and Blu-rays of shows, and they've been re-releasing things, and I can't complain one iota about that. But I mean, I really wish. And what's funny is that Kiss was always known to be the band that had all the merch. They were oversaturating the market with stuff, and there were so many Kiss things out there. Now there's nothing. Like, I mean, as far as that goes, I mean, yeah, maybe there's new dolls coming out and stuff like that, but I'm really disappointed in that end of it. I mean, there's no new DVDs to show for the last what 5, 6, 7, 8 years. Like, come on. We're long overdue for something like that, and now is the time to put something out.
Ken.
Yeah. I'm just hoping that they somehow, like I said, with these smaller opening acts, a single opening act, that they're going to lengthen their set and lengthen their show. Hopefully not with long, drawn out solo parts. We don't want that. Give us a few extra songs, good songs in there, and give the people their money's worth. Again, it's just, to me, it's always been the music. Just give us that music. That's what's the most important. I mean, if the music wasn't half good, they would have never made it this far. I mean, alone on just makeup and theatrics will not, make your career go over 40 years. It's just impossible. You would have been gone and dead in two years max if you didn't have quality songs to back it. So I give us a few more songs, lengthen the set. I just hope that's what it is. I hope they do, but I hope they somehow get out into California somehow.
I'm going to bring up one more thing, and Mike Brandvold, when he ran Kiss Online, traveled with the band quite a bit, and I gotta say, I really, really miss the stuff that he did on Kiss Online, which was hundreds of thousands of pictures he would take at each show. and you could go onto the website and click on the show, and there'd be hundreds of shots from that show. I would love to see them do a better job with the website of actually leveraging the access to the band by, making be a photographer for a show, contest with a fan, or sell it, photograph the band, pay us $1,000 to be the photographer in the pit, and we're going to put your pictures up on Kiss Online, and you're the photographer for that show. But for each show, instead of just posting the reviews or some link to some shitty YouTube video, how about, Keith shot some good video of, backstage stuff that he shared. Not enough. I want to see more of that as a fan, and I want to see it on the official side. I don't want to be going to three sides of the coin, God bless him, for coverage of Paul Stanley shooting a video with Ace. I mean, that's just so fucked up, pardon me, that an unofficial kind of entity is able to just scoop the official site in so many ways. So Mike did a fantastic job way back when with the coverage of the tour, the farewell tour in particular, and I mean, he also did the Detroit Rock City premiere and a lot of that other stuff in '99. So around that era, do it. Whether it's selling a photo pass, there's a lot of people out there who fancy themselves as photographers. $1,200 photographer's package. You're shooting the band for whatever it is, the first three songs, even if it's the same restrictions that they put on the press, or allowing that person in the pit for the whole of the show, and then they own the copyright to those photos, and they're putting them up on Kiss Online. To me, that's just kind of like a given of a great way to, one, make money, two, make the fans really experience the tour more, because there are going to be a lot of fans who don't get to see this tour. And while it may be the same old, I would still love to spend a couple hours clicking through shows, looking for cool pictures, even with big-ass Kiss Online watermarks across them, just to see the show. It'd be a great way to involve people.
Yeah, 100% agree. Idea. Yeah, I think that's very well said, and I think that what more can you add to that? I think that you hit the nail right on the mark. That's exactly what they should be doing, and maybe somebody will listen. Maybe somebody will come on and hear this, and maybe somebody will relay it back to them, and who knows? I'd love to think that maybe they would try something like that. I mean, come on, this is again another innovative sort of idea to do something, that they should try to do, and it's just frustrating for me because while these are great ideas, the chances of them doing it, I mean, will they do it? Come on.
No, and if they, they did the what was it, hire a vet for a day as a roadie, so they've done stuff like this in recent memory. It's not like anything. I'm just digging back to Mike's time, obviously, because I remember it vividly. It's they've done similar, and if they do anything during the tour, like Wounded Warriors, like they've done previously, I just hope they look up on charity search, before you pick your charity this time, please, rather than giving money to fundraisers. If supporting Wounded Warriors or vets or whatever is an extremely noble cause, and I think it's one that they're right to do and to support anything that they want to do. I would just love to see them do one that actually gets more money to those people that they're trying to benefit. So. And maybe stay away from doing the Pledge of Allegiance on stage, because it's about, it's about the show rather than dragging anything else in. But that's personal taste. I know a lot of people actually love that bit in the shows when they did it previously. So those are my thoughts. I
agree.
So. All right, gentlemen. Any final thoughts on Kiss on tour? Because it turned out to be mostly about Kiss. Ace finishes up his tour, I believe, tomorrow night, which is the 16th. He's playing tonight, I think, in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. Kiss is playing tonight. And I got to actually just check where that is, because I don't think it's... it's at the Beverly Hilton, and it's Love to Erase MS, which is a fundraiser charity thing. So I don't know if that's open to the public or not, but it's, again, for a very good cause. I know there are some fans on Facebook who are actually MS sufferers, so another one of those horrible diseases, and glad to see the band getting out there and doing things for other people. So all very positive, very cool.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Well, I guess that's our show for today. We'd like to hear your feedback and ideas about Kiss on Tour in 2016. A lot of us, I guess, didn't think it was going to happen because the clock was ticking, the calendar was moving by. Well, they surprised me at least by announcing something, and it should be exciting for a lot of people out there. So share your thoughts on what you want to hear, what you'd like to see, what ideas of mine you think are absolutely idiotic. Let's hear your opinions out there. Come over to the KissFAQ message board or look us up on Facebook. And, of course, if you listen to us on iTunes or Spreaker, do rate us and give us your feedback, because we do like to hear from you. So, for now, thank you for listening. Mark and Ken, thank you for joining me, and we will see you all next time. Thank you for spending time listening to the KissFAQ podcast today. All sales are final. There are no refunds. If you'd like, look us up on Facebook or come over to the KissFAQ message board and discuss the topic we've broadcast today. Don't forget to rate us on iTunes, Spreaker, or wherever you've listened to the show. We hope you'll join us again.